Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the RaidzBank podcast. My name is Poplo, and I'm joined by one of the two greatest podcasters out there in all the lands. Hoyt is here with me today. Hoyt, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing okay. Doing all right.
Good.
Yeah, it's been kind of rainy, windy this week, so been a little crummy weather, but other than that, can't complain. So, yeah, let's see what we got on the docket today. We're going to be doing a deep dive episode for you guys on Corrupted Gauntlet. So that should be pretty cool, whether you've got a couple hundred KC or you're brand new to doing CG. You should be learning something, hopefully taking something new away from this episode. But before we get into this episode, as we start all of our podcasts, Hoyt, what have you been up to this week?
I have been playing some leagues. Real life is picking up. We're like 90 days out from the wedding, so anything we haven't done...
Very exciting.
Yeah. Anything we haven't done is like pretty urgent at this point. My fiance is not the decisive type. Some women, I think, like they do really well with like weddings, like the bridezillas who like plan everything in one day. Like the day they get engaged, everything's already picked. My fiance is quite the opposite. She has a definitely like an idea of what she wants, but as far as like picking a vendor and a price and weighing options, that like is a weakness of hers. So usually that's where I come in the relationship. Like I'll pick, where we eat, stuff like that. But
yeah, the decision paralysis is real.
Yeah. So we're kind of in that. And then there's certain things like it's a tale as old as time where, maybe she would like a little more help from me, but I can't help because it's like her vision. Because like as a guy, I don't really care. Like the invitations, like,
yes,
I will make an invitation, no problem, but you're not going to like it. So why am I going to, like it's not a collaborative effort. That's a one-man job. You have a vision and you put it together. Now I'll help. Like,
yeah, it's hard because it's like I want to help, but like also this is not something that I feel particularly like. This is not the hill that I'm gonna die on.
Yeah,
but it is like your vision or your thing that you care a lot more about.
Now, if you tell me to like sit down and like cut these in a circle, put them in that envelope, like no problem, I'll be there ready. But
oh yeah, totally.
It's never like that. It's complex things, and nonetheless, we're doing good. It's just getting to that point.
That's good.
And then we did our first home tours Saturday. That was exciting.
Oh, nice.
And nowadays, like they post on the site on Saturday and they're sold by Sunday. So,
oh my gosh,
it's pretty, the good ones at least.
Yeah.
So we were like moments away from making an offer on one that we just loved. But we couldn't get over like the neighborhood, and you can't change the neighborhood. We're also going to be like the nicest house on the street, which in general is the opposite of what you want for home value. So I worried about like resale value if the surrounding area got like worse. We're going to lose money on that. So exciting times.
That's too bad.
As far as like RuneScape, I've been playing leagues. Got my 8th relic. Been doing still more like AFK skilling stuff. Kind of working on maxing. I'm at 2172. So there's a couple like big losers here, like construction and hunter. Just need to do at 31,000 points. I should be at 37k if I want dragon. So I am still behind the same amount as usual. So maybe like next weekend I'll be able to just...
Not falling more behind, but not really gaining.
Yeah, so maybe next week I'll be able to degen and catch up, but definitely Rune Cup at this point, maybe Dragon. Still motivated, so... That's a lot, but that's from me. What about you?
Yeah. My week has just been filled with Corrupted Gauntlet, so very timely episode that we're doing here. Actually, just this morning... I finished my 6th armor seed.
Hey, so GZ.
Yeah, thank you.
And you got something
actually,
else.
well, I got What was that?
You got something else a little while ago.
I think I mentioned that already.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I think you did.
I got the enhanced.
Okay, yeah. I know Heartless and I had like an episode, and we were like, we're not going to say it. We're going to let him tell it. So I must have forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. I spooned that on 22 KC.
Oh yeah.
I think I talked about that last week.
I remember.
So that was a while ago. I've done about 200 KC since then. I got 5 of the armor seeds, and then one of my group mates had an extra one, which is very nice. So I only had to go get 5 of them. So very, very lucky, very, very spooned. And now, honestly, I just need a couple more crystal shards to get everything corrupted, everything like that, and then have some still for pots left over. So I think I'll go to 250 KC just to round it all out.
Yeah.
But super exciting that, I don't know, that was not I got super lucky. I can't say anything, so I'm sorry all you people out there who are going dry.
Yeah, so just to
the group Iron Man luck is way too strong.
Mansplain it for any casuals out there. So armor seeds are 1 in 50. You need 6 of them to make the armor. It's 3 for the chest, 2 for legs, 1 for helm. So that's 300 KC. However, the enhanced is 400 KC for the drop rate.
Yep.
So that's generally what you're looking at. Most people focus on the enhanced because if you go on rate for that, you'll have 8 armor seeds and you only need 6. So some people do get really unlucky though. They go dry on the other one. So I just had to explain that for anyone who hears us speaking gibberish. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I got my first armor seed at like 150. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to go 400 KC anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so I went 3 times for the first one. And then I pulled 2 in one night. Got pretty lucky on the last one. So it was, yeah, definitely good. And now I'm just thinking of like, what's next? Because, I mean,
Ladlore
I feel
guide.
like Ladlore says to get the Falador Elite Diary. I'm like, and Wrath Runes. That's what's next on the Ladlore guide. So I'm like, that doesn't sound super fun right now to go bust out 95 rune crafting.
Time for ZMI, baby.
Oh my gosh. I'm not going there, man. I just unlocked the game.
Ladlore's behind you with a gun.
Yes, he is. He's sneaking in right now to off me. But no, I think that I think I'm gonna take a little bit more chill time. Gauntlet is pretty mentally engaging, and so I think around just catching up on some chores. I've got all the gems from 92 mining at stars. I've got 82 crafting banked. I think I've got 7 crafting levels or something just from the gems. Obviously I have to alch everything that I've got from Gauntlet, so I think I'll be doing some agility, just some chore stuff around on the account, and then I think I'll be probably heading. I'd like to bust out Inferno or Quiver pretty quick. I think I could do that with a Bofa pretty quick. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, that opens up everything.
It kind of does. There's so many different avenues to go right now. And that's why the Bofa is just so good. We will talk about that later in this episode. But I also wanted to give one more kind of update. Not really about what I've been up to, but just kind of a PSA out there for everybody. Not really, but I have not forgotten about the bracket challenge that I posted 2 months ago at this point in the events channel. We had some issues with our clan code on Wise Old Man getting synced to some other data, and so I wasn't able to pull the data in time when the actual event was going on. But we're all good now. I'm planning to bust that out tonight, and I can go back and I could retroactively pull the stats for when that bracket challenge was going to be. So I will announce the winners this weekend. They will be out by the time this episode comes out. So don't think I forgot about you guys. Don't think I forgot about all you who submitted a bracket. There will still be winners and a prize coming out. And now I've set it on air, and so I am tied to it. So
I was wondering why
I put it out there in writing.
How the Wise Old Man thing came up. Because you don't seem like the type to check Wise Old Man a lot. Like you're in the Giga gamer who doesn't even look. You're just like, I know I'm up there.
No, not at all.
That's funny. But yeah, we had you phrased it well. Just someone had synced it to a different clan, and it was funny. But it should be fixed now, I hope.
It is.
Good.
It is fixed, and also, if I ever do something like this again, Wise Old Man is kind of buns right now, man. Not gonna lie. Like, everything just takes forever to load, or like the page won't respond. I feel like I've just been having like multiple issues with it. Like, every time that I go on and want to try to do an update like for it or something, or look at stuff, it takes like forever to load. Like each page takes, I don't know, like multiple minutes to load, or the connection will time out or something. So I don't know what's going on with Wise Old Man, but I think that like I would go, I don't know if Temple can do the same thing or something, but I think I would do it a different way.
Yeah, maybe try Temple.
Yeah, I just have kind of already started on this.
Yeah, all those, well, one, it's community run, not for profit. I don't even know how they do it.
Yeah.
Because they I don't know if they have ads or very minimal ads, but the problem they have is other people will like come up with a project, like you or I will like start vibe coding and come up with this idea, and then we'll try to scrape their website with like data pools, and it really bogs them down. So they purposefully put in like, thresholds so that you can't load too many pages. I wonder if that's what's happening with you, or maybe they just have a bad,
I don't know,
couple months of server hosting.
I feel like it's just kind of been server stuff, because I feel like it just hasn't ever really loaded well, like multiple times that I've tried to do it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know all the back end stuff, what goes on behind the scenes, but it like, if when I go back and I put in like the custom date ranges to go look at bosses, like Boss KC across the clan, then like it just takes forever to load. I got through like half the list, and then it was like this. I've been at this for an hour just trying to look things up and reloading the page. So, anyways, unless something like that happens again, then I'm planning to work on it and finish that up. So that should be all done by the time that this comes out. So.
Good deal.
Yeah. You got any more updates for us for this week?
Nope. I don't think so.
All right. Well, before we jump into the meat of our episode, remember you can join our clan in game or join our Discord. Links will be linked here. And check out our Patreon, where you can support us for as little as $3 a month. And if Patreon is not your thing, consider listening to a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Maybe we'll talk about the normal Gauntlet a little bit, but before we get into it, I guess let's just do a little corrupted Gauntlet overview. So, kind of background to this content was released July 25th, 2019, as part of the Prifdiness release, along with Song of the Elves and Zalcano. Hoyt, do you remember back when this was coming out? This was a really big deal when it was getting released.
Actually, when I either when I came back or when I started playing, because it was 2019-ish.
Yeah, July 2019.
And it was around mobile release. And I started playing this because I got the ads for the mobile release.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So this was
so you probably weren't doing
I was not doing it. No. But it was
some mobile Gauntlet. Beast.
I wish. No, I was very, very new, returning from 2009 when I quit. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I remember trying it day one. And we'll get into kind of what that was like back day one. They've made some crazy good updates and adjustments to it since then. It was kind of AIDS when it first came out, so
I'm shocked.
There's a couple quality of life changes that have happened since the release. But the lore behind this is that this is kind of cool. This is a little lore piece here that I found on the wiki. The Gauntlet was actually created by the elves as a training ground by the Amlod clan to ensure that their warriors were capable of defending Prifddinas during the God Wars. And so I guess what it kind of is the player is given a limited amount of time to explore a randomly generated dungeon layout, gathering various resources and supplies by skilling and defeating crystalline monsters, all in preparation to defeat the crystalline Hunllef, which is based upon a deadly wolf-like predator from the elven home world of Tarthiad, I think is how it's called. I had never heard of Tarthiad, so I looked that one up too. And it is the home world of the elves. This is the little lore piece that goes with this. It kind of sounds like, almost like, you know how the vampires came from Vampirium?
Yeah.
And we're getting the Vampirium update. This is like the home world, but for the elves. Like Vampirium for elves, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
So long before the first age on Gielinor, it was discovered by the goddess Seren, who we fight part of that, the fragment of Seren during the Song of the Elves quest. And she was enamored by the elves and stayed with them, teaching them the art of crystal singing. Seren also granted the elves longevity, but at the cost of bonding the elves to her. To break this bond, Seren convinced the elves to come to Gielinor after having been told of its power by Guthix. And 8 of the 9 elven clans came with her. The Siwur clan, I think, decided to stay behind, and it is currently unknown if they survived after being separated from Seren for so long. So, I guess if you didn't know, there's 9 elven clans, and 8 of them are represented in different districts in Prifddinas, which is kind of cool. You can go check that out.
Underground Pass Part 5, the Siwur clan.
No, please, not the Underground Pass quest.
No guides.
We got a question about that. What quest line would you expand if given the chance? And I didn't notice anybody say Underground Pass, but maybe
it's one of those like love-hate things where I think a lot of us get a deep sense of nostalgia with it because it was so awful, like Stockholm Syndrome. But
yeah, like we all survived this together.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, it's so nostalgia and good. I like it more than Morning's End Part 2, I'll tell you that much. But
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. The Elven quest line is just known for having long, tedious, kind of annoying
It's really
puzzles.
good if you're not in a rush trying to get it done. If you just block off like a Saturday to do it, like you're probably going to have a good time. But if you're just trying to check it off the list, you're going to hate it. Absolutely.
Well, until you fail the agility shortcut 5 times. And
have you, I don't think you said you don't watch Mad Season show on YouTube.
No, I don't think so.
So he was a big WoW content creator and he came to RuneScape, but he said, I'm going to play it without guides, like Alien Food. And however, Alien Food already played RuneScape. So he knew what Motherlode Mine was. He knew, like, he knew basics about the game, and he had a memory. Mad Season was actually like never touched RuneScape, so
like blind. Yeah, he
did Underground Pass, and it's hilarious because like they're usually his episodes are 40 minutes or so long form. They're like Underground Pass is like 3 hours and like multiple videos.
Oh my god!
Because he kept having to go back for food because he was brute forcing every puzzle basically. So you just go back to Artie. It was brutal.
Well, you have to go through it all over again, and you might not take the right items, and you forget your bow and arrows to make your fire arrows or whatever, and it's just that's just annoying.
His funniest thing is Mad Season. If you're listening, stop. So he did the
plug your ears.
Yeah, he did the Fremennik Trials, I think it is, where you have to put a bomb in the pipe. Does that ring a bell outside of the
like the cherry
thing?
bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He couldn't, or maybe it's the poison chalice, but I think it was that. But it's like pretty unintuitive.
Put it in the drain pipe, I think.
Yeah, the drain pipe. You have to
go ahead.
buy it from a dude way outside of the, Fremennik, whatever, Relica. on the bridge way out there. He never found it, so he just had to stop. He wasted like multiple episodes like running around the world, but there's like no breadcrumbs from Jagex for like where to get that if you don't have a guide in front of you. So he just can't do the Fremnik quests until he figures that out, which is sad. Hilarious.
Oh, he's still on it.
Yeah, he just never completed it.
Oh.
He just had to move away from it.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny.
Yeah. Okay, tangent aside.
Check that out.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. Anyways, let's talk quick rewards, kind of what they pitched when Gauntlet came out and stuff like that. Why it's kind of good, and then I'd like to Hoyt hear about your experience with the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Since it's come out. So rewards, I guess everyone kind of knows, but definitely really good runes and alchables. This is very good, like, source of cash on the Iron Man. You get definitely set up for quite a while if you're doing this on the Iron Man. Crystal shards, which are important for charging crystal armor, the Blade of Sealdor and the Bofa, and also for making divine potions and using, I guess, crystal tools. Just a lot of uses with crystal shards. As we mentioned before, you get armor seeds and weapon seeds. They're both a 1 in 50 drop. The weapon seeds are pretty much almost useless, I guess. You turn them in for crystal acorns, I think is what most people do with the weapon seeds. And then the crystal armor seeds, as we talked about, help you make the crystal armor, which is very good. And then it's got a pet at a rate of 1 in 800. And the big drop is the enhanced crystal weapon seed and a 1 in 400. And that lets you make the bow of Faradinin or the Blade of Sealdor, which everyone is just going to make the bow because it's just so good. Yeah, and there's been a lot of conversation kind of around the Gauntlet drop rate as well. And so at the end of our discussion, Hoyt, I'd really like to get your opinion on where you think the Gauntlet stands and where drop rates stand on that as well.
Yeah.
So
I did take a peek. It looks like each kill at CG is a little less than 800k. And it takes, anywhere from like 8 to 11 minutes or less.
Oh, that's with like enhanced.
So
like
yeah,
all factored in.
Let's see here. The crystal shards, well, those are guaranteed. I'll say the enhance is 330k of that. So you're looking at 400.
Oh, so that's like
450k per kill, roughly. A lot of that's in crystal shards, which you'll never sell. So you're really looking at alks of around 300k per 10 minutes. So when people talk about it being like a huge cash cow,
it's pretty good.
That's what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like 2 mil an hour or more. And like no gear required, only stats.
Yeah, if you're getting 6 kills an hour,
that's like raw cash,
which is EHP, it's 4.7 mil an hour. 2 mil of that is the enhanced. So yeah, you're looking at 2.7 mil an hour ish.
Very nice. Yeah. No, I'm super excited to alch everything and then just have a large stack of cash that then I can quickly blow on fletching and smithing, basically.
Yes, that is the Iron Man meta. And then you'll be so rich, you don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. It'll just sit there.
Yep.
So yeah, Hoyt, kind of what has your experience been with the Gauntlet? How much have you interacted with it? Do you like it? Are you a fan of it? Give us a scoop on you.
Yeah, so CG I put off for a while. People who know me know I like to put off things like my Infernal Cape and stuff. Some would say it's because I'm scared of them. I know that's true, but I have this mindset.
Well, it depends what it is. Like, you don't like to put off the skilling minigames.
True. Yeah.
So it depends what it is.
I have this. My mindset has always been like the end game is PVM and it's Slayer. So if I know I'm going to be doing that as the end game, I want to complete everything before that so I can just lock in and sit there. So I can do raids all day and I don't have to worry about getting this side grind done or getting a max cape for this boss because the teleports are good or anything. I don't know. I like to check off all the boxes before. Kind of like procrastination in a efficient way. So anyways,
Sure, yeah.
I put off CG quite a lot. And then when I would go into the office, I would set up the Chrome remote desktop to like Nightmare Zone my combats to 99.
Oh, yeah.
So that helped me a lot. Those who are really ignorant, you go into CG with literally nothing. You can't bring anything in, but your stats do stay. So having high combats does make things a little easier. Anyways, once I finally got there, I had never done difficult PVM before. And CG's in the top 10, maybe. Not top 10. I don't know. It's hard content. It's in the not the highest tier, but one under, you know. It's hard. And
it's definitely hard.
Yeah, and it was just really brutal. It was really, really hard and frustrating. And I had to really just lock in and learn, and a lot of clan members and clan mates like would help me, but it was frustrating getting different advice from different people. Each person was like, oh no, you got to do my method. And nonetheless, to wrap things up, I was like negative KD for a very long time. And then eventually, over the course of months, I, got the hang of it. And finally, I got, all the way up to 380 KC when I got my enhance. So just shy of rate.
Ooh, nice.
And I had 8 armor Cs. I was basically exactly on rate for everything. So yeah, that was my experience. It was a while ago, so I'm just trying to piece it all together. I just remember like the first 50 to 100 KC were like really, really hard, and I had to like be my best self when learning it because it was so difficult. Like I couldn't be inebriated at all. I would always deafen.
Yes.
Completely.
Oh yeah,
deafen.
when you go into the Hunllef fight.
Even for the prep, I honestly, this is gonna sound, pretentious maybe, but I never really struggled with Hunllef. Like, yeah, I didn't pick it up immediately, but I always felt like I knew why I died, and I knew how to improve because it's kind of on the spot decision making.
Yes, very much so.
So Hunllef was never my hurdle. My hurdle was tier 2 prep in time. And I could always do tier 1 prep, so I actually did my first like 200 KC with tier 1 prep because I couldn't do prep in time, which makes it it wasn't efficient because your chances of dying are much higher with tier 1 when you're lower combat level and like you are making mistakes. I don't know. So I still would recommend people getting into it, like do tier 2 prep 1000%. But I couldn't do it within the time constraints.
Ooh, okay. We'll have to to fight on this one.
And then
when we get down to it.
The last thing I'll say was this was the first piece of content where I was on a timer. Like every other piece of content was I could do it slow at my own pace if I wanted. Like even fight caves. You can just safe spot someone behind like a wall and you can take a breather, take a break, think about things, ask friends, and then you go back out there. But CG was the first piece of content, and there aren't many where you're on a legitimate clock ticking down. Yeah. And every room you check that you don't need to is a penalty. Every resource you mine is a penalty. And prep was actually the hard part for me. So that was my long spiel.
Yeah.
What about you?
What kind of combat stats did you have when you kind of started, or what would you kind of recommend for people before they go and start?
If you're like a noob, Gauntlet, it should be around 90s, I think. But if you are confident on like, if you're confident, you don't need advice from me. You know what to do, but it can be done with even 70s, 80s combats. But if you're a noob, I'd say learn to go sit, learn a setup for like the gym crab, And when you're not doing CG or before you go to bed or when you're at work, just AFK crab to get, some 99s, because it's so hard. Every little bit will help.
Yep, I agree with you. I think around 90 is probably a good spot.
Yeah,
where you can probably do most tier 1 prep stuff at 90. And you'll definitely be good if you can tier 2 prep at 90 kind of combats across the board. So I guess my experience with Gauntlet before we start to is I did grind it out on the main, got the pet on 200 KC, so very smooth.
Damn,
this seems to be a trend here. That was to be getting lucky at Gauntlet. That was back July 21st of 2021. I went back and looked it up, so that was like almost 5 years ago, which is kind of crazy. Different time in life too. Took me back there. Yeah, on the group iron, I'm just about 220 KC. Like I said, going for 250. But I've really enjoyed it. I think it's really fun content. I really love the speed aspect of it, and like the fact that it like times your prep and everything. You're like, oh, I got a fast prep. Like maybe I can get a good boss and get a PB or something. But I just like that every single run is like its own thing. Like it's never the same 2 runs. Like you'll never have 2 of the same runs in a row. And sometimes it's just not fast and you got to sit back and be like, all right, well, this is just a slower one and that's just the way it goes. That's RNG at the end of the day. But when you get a fast one, then it kind of gets your heart going a little bit. And yeah, I've really been enjoying camping there for a little while.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. General overview. Should we jump into what the content actually is, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. So kind of like what we talked about, the Gauntlet has 2 phases. It's got a prep phase, which is on a timer, and it's got a boss phase, which is not on a timer. You can take as long in the boss as you want. But like Hoyt mentioned, you go in with nothing, you keep your stats, but you're not allowed to bring any items or anything in there. Everything you make, armor, weapons, food, potions, all that comes from resources that's inside the Gauntlet. And so part of learning the Gauntlet too is like learning how to prep quickly, how to find resources quickly, and how to kit yourself out, I guess, before the timer runs out, before you have to fight the boss. And then so what it is you'll spawn in like a 7x7 grid of rooms, and then they're all blackened off basically, and you have to go like open those rooms to see what resources, what monsters and stuff are in there. And then after you've done your prep, then you'll be able to fight the Hunllef boss, and we'll kind of talk about that too a little bit more. But I think this is a very fun fight in my opinion, because it's like it's got a little bit of nuance, like things aren't always the same, but there are definitely patterns to recognize, and RuneScapers love pattern recognition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's kind of talk about prep, kind of the general overview of what your goals are for prep, and then maybe let's talk about like tier 2 prep versus tier 1 prep. I think we should probably discuss those.
Yeah.
So when you're going in, you're going to want to look for, there's like 3 different resources that you can get to make armor. There's bark, ore, and linium terinium, I don't know, cloth or something.
Cotton.
And cotton, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And you put those together to make armor with armor seeds, or with crystal shards, and basically each armor piece can be upgraded all the way from tier 1 to tier 3. So when you originally make it, it's tier 1. You can upgrade it to tier 2 with some more resources, or tier 3 with even more resources. Same thing goes with the weapons. When you kill monsters in there, they will drop a weapon frame that you can use to make either a halberd, a bow, or a staff. And then those can be upgraded from basic, which is tier 1, to tier 2, which is attuned, or perfected, which is tier 3. And so remember, like Hoyt said, you're on a timer, so each of these upgrades takes time. So you have to kind of realize what is important, how far you think you can go before you run out of time. And when you run out of time, you instantly get teleported into the boss room. So as you're kind of making those, you're also going around, there's fishing spots where you can get food. You can fish for paddlefish, I think is what they're called. And you can cook those to make your own food. There's also herbs that you can mix with vials of water to make these potions that are prayer potions plus stamina potions, which is super cool, 2 in 1. And the way that you upgrade your weapons is there are also demi bosses on the edges of the rooms, and when you kill them, you get either you get a piece for whatever weapon that is. So you get either a spike to upgrade the halberd, you get a orb to upgrade the staff, or you get a bowstring to upgrade the bow. That's kind of big picture prep. Hoyt, do you want to kind of talk about maybe kind of what is tier 2 prep and why people should kind of do it? That was kind of a word vomit, but it's really hard to explain, I guess, in just big overview terms.
Yeah. And I've been like doing this CG on leagues, which is vastly different. So forgive me if I get one of these numbers wrong. Let us know in the comments. But so tier 1 prep, you need what people mean by that is the armor comes in 3 levels. Tier 1 is the first level of armor, and not only does it reduce the damage you take, but increases your max hit. Editor Hoyt here, the CG armor tiers do not increase your max hit, but they do increase your accuracy. So they increase your DPS, but I was wrong here. They don't increase your max hit. So tier 1 prep means you will get generally 2 max level weapons, and people always choose magic because the max hit of magic is how does that work, Poplo? Is it just scale better, or is it higher?
I think it's just higher. It doesn't scale off of your magic level as much as the other things do.
Okay.
And so oftentimes your magic, the max hit, I think is more tied to the gear in the gauntlet rather than like your mage level. And so it seems like magic is usually the highest max hit between the 3 different types of weapons.
Yeah, and then obviously being magic, you're at a distance, so you have easier maneuverability. And then for the second weapon, some people will say like you can do range because it's another ranged weapon, of course, which means you have like more tiles you can stand on. I personally did melee because it hits harder, and I figured if I was going to learn it, sometimes offense is the best defense, so killing it faster. But maybe just do the 2 range styles to learn. Anyways, going back to like
range.
Yeah, the problem is range just doesn't. It hits softer, so
yeah.
If like you are pressed for resources or time, it's a little riskier in that sense, but it's definitely better to learn with. Going back to the armor though, tier 1 just means you get tier 1 armor, which is 3 of each resources. So you have 3 bark, you have 3 ore, you have 3 cotton. That creates 3 pieces of the armor, 1 for each. And then tier 2 prep, you don't need double that. You actually need 7 of each. So each tree you come across in Gauntlet will give you 3 resources. So by doing tier 2 prep, you can't satisfy 7 resources in 2 trees. You have to find the 3rd one. You get 3 from the first, 3 from the second, 1 from the third. That's what makes it a little tricky, is you might find 2, no problem, but the 3rd of that resource might be really hard to find as far as the node. The rewards are, though, it's pretty hard to die with tier 2 if you have food, because unless you get stacked by tornadoes, you can recover very easily. And then you just crush Hunllef a lot faster because your max hit is much higher. So you should learn tier 2. The problem is, of course, your kills are longer, so over the course of 400 kills, it is slower. But if you do the math, if you wipe 1 out of every 5 or 6 tier 1 runs, it would have been worth it to do tier 2 for all of them without wiping. So you have to look at it that way. And then it can just be frustrating trying to find that 7th resource for your set. And then you have more crystals you have to get. So yeah, that was a long answer for you. Tier 1 and 2. No, tier 3, I've never even done for the combat task.
It's just a combat achievement, yeah. Only hardcores do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you said it really well. So there's like in the Gauntlet, there are different nodes. There's skilling nodes and I guess combat nodes, you could kind of call them, which are just monsters. And the skilling nodes, yeah, they give you the resources to build armor or fish for food. And then, yeah, there's the monsters that you can fight that give more crystal shards and they drop pieces for the weapons. So yeah, that's kind of like the general guideline for tier 2 prep is getting food, you get a couple potions, and then finding the resources to make the tier 2 armor is probably the biggest time sink in there. But like Hoyt said, there's a lot of benefits to it. There's a lot of perks to having just better armor in general. And so I don't know, I've been doing tier 1 prep mostly just because I feel more confident in my gameplay, I guess. But definitely when you're learning tier 2 prep is a better way to go. And then I feel like starting tier 2 and then eventually moving into the tier 1 prep is probably like the best way to go once you get confident, get a couple 100 KC underneath your belt.
Yeah.
And then I guess once you finish the prep phase, should we talk boss real quick?
Yeah.
Boss fight.
I have the map pulled up on my screen. Do you want me to go through like the route you should take, or do you have that for later?
Let's talk boss fight real quick, just what it is, and then let's talk get a little bit more in depth with strategy.
Okay, yeah.
I would say talk about kind of mechanics, how this place works, and then give tips, tricks, and mechanics.
Okay.
Or, tips and tricks after mechanics. Yeah. So after you finish prep phase, then you go fight the Hunllef. And okay, I talked about how it used to be like Giga AIDS before when it first came out, and now it's a lot better. Well, the Hunllef always goes on a rotation of, I think is it 5 or 6 attacks before it switches styles?
It checks 6 attacks for you, and it's 4 for it, I thought.
4 for the Hunllef? Okay. So basically, when you enter the room, it'll start with a range attack, and it'll always do 4, I think, range attacks in a row, and then it'll switch to a magic attack. Then it'll do 4 magic attacks in a row, and then it'll switch back to a range attack. And that's kind of the whole, like, that's basically all that it does during the whole fight. The only other thing is that magic has a chance to turn your prayer off as well, so you might have to turn that back on. But every 4 attacks, it's just switching back and forth between attack styles. It also has a stomp attack. If you run underneath it, it can stomp you, and that does a lot of damage for sure. And it also, the stomp also delays its attack 1. So if it stomps you, it doesn't count as either the range or the mage attack. And so it will continue to do that for 1 more hit. As you're fighting it, the floor will also light up with like the floor is lava tiles, kind of is what it looks like, where there will be sections of the room that you can't stand on, or you'll take damage every tick that you're standing on those tiles. It'll damage you. And then also throughout the fight, it will spawn these tornadoes that will follow you through the room. Think of like tornadoes at Verzik, or what else? I guess like Awaken Leviathan. If you people have been doing that before they've done Gauntlet, but
yeah, there's something else. I can't remember it though. But yeah.
but yeah, it basically, they follow you. They're like heat-seeking, tracking tornadoes. They follow you around the room, so you have to keep running. They move at like a walking speed, so you have to keep running to avoid them. And if they catch up to you, same deal, they'll do a ton of damage. The damage is reduced based on the armor that you're wearing, what tier of armor, and also the Hunllef's max hit is reduced based on what tier of armor you're wearing as well. So if you're wearing tier 1 armor, I know the max hit from Hunllef is a 13. If you have no armor, I think it's a 15. I don't know what it is for tier 2 and tier 3, but it goes down from there. So you're taking less damage over time. Basically, once you're in there, then it's just a fight to the death between the two of you. And the Hunllef will start off in Corrupted Gauntlet with 2 tornadoes that follow you. And then once it gets to 66%, it'll do 3 tornadoes. And once it gets to 33%, it'll do 4 tornadoes. And the floor pattern will change between each of those phases as well. I think that is kind of the overview of Hunllef fight. Is there anything that I missed for it? Oh, yeah, Hoyt, you also said that the Hunllef will change its overhead based off of what you're attacking it with. So the Hunllef will always have either mage, range, or melee prayer up, where it will not take any damage from you if you are doing that attack against what it's praying. But every 6 attacks that you do, it will change its prayer style to whatever you hit it with last that it is not currently praying against. So if it's praying range, then it will calculate 6 hits, and then if you hit it with magic on the 6th hit, it'll start praying magic rather than praying range. If you hit it with melee on the 6th hit, it'll change to melee. And then it continues like that. And there's some ways to manipulate it later that we'll talk about, some more advanced tips to get it to pray something specific so that you can attack it with a stronger weapon. Okay. Now, Hoyt, anything you want to jump in on that I missed?
No, I did pull up the chart here. So Hunllef, even when you pray correctly against it, it does like chip damage. So
yeah,
for tier 1, that max hit is 13 for chip, tier 2 is 10, and then damage from tornadoes for tier 1 is 15 to 25, tier 2 is 10 to 20. So it doesn't seem like much, but if you extrapolate those into percentages, you'd see just how big of a buff tier 2 is.
Yeah, definitely.
And then not to mention your max hit, which I'd have to find. Why is it on here? It does change your max hit, right?
I'm not sure. Like I said, I've mostly been doing tier 1 prep. I haven't hardly done any tier 2. So, yeah. But if you're not praying against Hunllef, then it has a crazy max hit. It can hit you like 50s off prayer or something like that. So it can definitely smoke you if you miss a prayer, which I think is why people like this is such a hard fight, is because it's very punishing. If you get hit by a tornado or a stack of tornadoes, you're just instantly dead if you get caught by all 4 tornadoes. And if you take 1 or 2 prayers off prayer from Hunllef, then they can hit you 40 or 50 something, and then you're either down that many food or you're just dead as well. Step on the floor, same deal. You start taking damage and things can just add and stack up really quickly. So I think there's as the fight progresses, there gets to be more and more kind of going on, and it's harder and harder to keep track of everything as the fight continues. Which is why it makes it such a difficult boss to do every time.
Oh yeah.
Every time that you want to do the gauntlet.
Yeah, did we talk about the 5-1 method?
No, haven't talked about that one yet.
Okay.
Do you want to explain what the 5-1 method is? I said you can kind of manipulate the Hunllef's prayers depending on what you want to attack with. But
yeah, I didn't get to do this too much myself, mostly a skill issue, but I did it successfully a few times just to see if I could do it.
Okay, nice. I've done it probably for 85% of my clears.
Okay, yeah, then you explain it. I'll probably get something wrong.
Okay. So kind of like I said, the Hunllef prays against whatever the 6th attack is that's off prayer for it that you do. And so basically the way that you do the 5-1 method is you're losing DPS. There's a trade-off. You're losing DPS in the Hunllef fight to gain time on the prep phase. So what you do is you will only need to find one demi-boss, either the dragon or the dark beast, to get the staff or the bow. And you don't need to find another demi-boss for a perfected weapon. You only need one perfected weapon, either the staff or the bow, and then you can make just the tier 1 or tier 2 of the other one. So you have one perfected weapon in your inventory, and then you have one just basic or attuned one as well. And the way that you do it basically is if it prays against your attack every 6th attack, you do 5 attacks with your perfected weapon, so either the bow or the staff, and then you do 1 hit with the non-perfected weapon. Either, so let's just say you have the perfected staff for this example. You'll do 5 hits with the staff, and then you'll do 1 hit with the bow to make it switch to range. And then you'll go back, you'll do 5 hits with the staff, and then you actually can unequip your staff, and you can kick it or punch it to make it pray melee. And so basically you're trading 5 hits of your perfected weapon for 1 hit of a not so strong weapon or a punch in order to save time on the prep where you don't need to find 2 demi-bosses. Is you're just using 1 perfected weapon, you're good to go off of that. Yeah, that's kind of what the 5-1 is. Have you done much of it, Hoyt? You said not really.
Yeah, no, I'm like more just, it's like a third layer of thinking. So it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and 5-1's at the top. So I'm barely like alive, making sure I pray correctly, stay in the right spot, skip the tornadoes, get as much DPS in as I can, and then like keeping track of which attack I'm on is just usually I'll like know it's my 6th attack and I can swap right away, because the fight is because Hunllef follows this, it swaps every 4, it checks every 6 of you. You'll notice like patterns in when it's phasing, like when it's swapping, because some of the fight's not some of it's random, some of it isn't, I guess, in that sense. I don't know. If you did enough, you'll just know like, oh yeah, about now is the time when I switch.
Yeah, I'm always counting to 5 in my brain. Like
yeah.
Count to 5 simulator.
I genuinely do, but I get, I'll get distracted or something will grab my attention and I'll be like, I'm on 4, 5, I don't know.
Yeah, and then you forget.
Yeah, that's just, totally. I did do it a few times just to impress myself, but that was about it. It's definitely what you should be doing though, if, if skill isn't an issue and you're able to do that.
Yeah, because sometimes in the stinking prep phase, you'll just be running around for another like 45 seconds to a minute, just looking for a second demi-boss, just looking for another one that you can kill just to get a second perfected weapon. And if you don't have to do that, yeah, it's terrible. That's the worst. That's literally the worst part of the Gauntlet is when you have pretty much all of your resources, you're just missing like one.
Yep.
And you have to run from room to room to room to room, just opening things, trying to find the one thing that you're missing. And so this just kind of eliminates part of that, where you don't need to have everything that you would need for a complete prep, if you do the 5-1 method. Yeah, that's kind of the general overview of the boss fight. Hoyt, do you want to get into kind of you're talking about the route that you should take?
Yeah. So the wiki has a route. Do you ever go around the outside for your second run, or do you stay close to Hunllef when you're looking for that one missing thing?
I guess normally if I'm doing that, then I'll be going around the outside because I have to find, or I'll kind of zigzag my way through the middle because I'll be looking for a demi-boss.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm trying to open rooms that can lead to like 2 other rooms, I think, generally.
Yeah.
I've actually never looked up the like optimal route. I'm just kind of like felt it out as I've gone, so I'm interested to see what it actually says of what is kind of the route that you should go.
All right, so on my screen, I'll see if I can screen share if I'm just sharing too much. Just so you can follow. Sorry, it's pixelated. This one's a little better. Okay. No, it's not.
We got some live footage. Let's go.
Okay, so you're going to spawn in one of these rooms, right? And it'll
almost
automatically...
the middle, but it's one room away from the middle.
Yeah. And Hunllef is, of course, the middle. Yeah. So for the sake of this, we'll assume you spawn in the north one. So everything except for, Hunllef and this one is invisible. The route that really helped me lock in prep is what we call like the horseshoe method. So this is the horseshoe you're going to check, but these are the bosses. Okay. And that's why they're highlighted on the outside. So I'll try to remember. A lot of you are just audio listeners. So the room when you spawn in, assuming Hunllef is to your south, you will go either west or east to check for resources, and then you will go north and check the boss room, see what's in there. And then you'll dip back down. Generally, you just want to peek at the boss because it's going to start hitting you for 40s. That's a lesson you learn very quickly. So
yeah,
be very careful. And then you're going to check the middle room, so be directly north of where you spawned. Check that boss room. And then you're going to go check the other side, check that boss room. And finally, you'll go south and either east or west to go back to your starting room. There's a lot of variations to this. Sometimes you'll see the mice and the bats, and you'll get a weapon frame early by killing them on your way, and you can kind of make a pit stop to create a weapon. That way, when you do check the boss rooms, you can go ahead and kill them. If you have variations in this, you'll be fine. But if you start doing things outside of these 8, boxes, this 3x3 grid, and until you've checked all of them, if you start veering out here, you're going to run into time problems. Now, what Poplo is saying is maybe in a majority of cases, you're not going to have everything you need from this grid. If you do, that's a good run. So let's say this will be like
that's the one you live for.
Yeah, this will be the mage boss, and then over here, this will be the melee boss. And you'll be like, oh my god, perfect, god run. You can just go straight into Hunllef, and then maybe there's fish in here. You're safe. Now, if you just need fish, I've been told to stay in the rooms by Hunllef. Is that correct to you?
I think so. You don't normally have to go out to like the far ones, but kind of, I feel like either the ones right around Hunllef or like one out from there, like the middle kind of ring of rooms. I don't normally check for fish in like the outer ones.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the route that helped me start to actually get things in time. And as Poplo said, generally at this point, this is where you kind of have to improvise. Usually you won't have, sometimes you'll have 0 boss rooms in this first check. And then at that point, you need to start checking out the other sides. Usually I would go straight out to the boss and then down, just if I'm really desperate. Sometimes I need other resources, so we'll do like the zigzag pattern to see, if these other rooms have some resources I need. Along this whole journey, you might get teleport seeds, and these are one-time use. They bring you back to the spawn room, and that can kind of change your plans. If I have an extra teleport seed and I'm feeling confident, I can really I can go pretty far out, knowing, and I always have a panic button to get back. If I don't have a teleport seed, I may play very conservative. I might check these, teleport back. Well, I didn't have a seed, but maybe run back. But I probably won't. I don't know. You try
to stay a little closer to the home base, to the prep. room.
Yeah.
If you don't have a seed.
But really, if you can nail this and you're learning, if you can nail this 3x3 grid and not waste ticks thinking, if you can just, and another thing is, you don't need to check every touching room. In fact, I'd tell you not to because it's a bad habit and you probably won't need it. I don't know how you feel about that, Poplo, but I would be like, oh, I'm already in the room. I might as well just go ahead and click on all the doors. Big time waste. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, what I do normally is when I'm doing kind of the horseshoe or when I'm going around checking rooms, if there is a resource, like say there's a mining thing like right next to a room that I normally wouldn't check, but I'm gonna be there mining the rock anyways, then I'll check it. Like if there's something next to it that you
right here.
Yeah, if there's a node right next to the thing, then you might as well open it because you never. It might be a fishing spot or it might be something else, and that would actually save you. But I wouldn't run like all the way across a room to just open a random room that I don't really need.
Yeah, if the room's empty,
run all the way across the room, you have to open it and you have to run all the way back.
Go like that. Yeah, you don't need to. If the room's empty, don't be a noob and be like, "Oh, I wonder what's over here," and I wonder what's over here. Because again, this is the one place where time would just destroy you, and it feels really defeating because you're always like. Generally, you're so close to, you just need 30 more seconds, but.
Yeah. Every second counts for sure.
That was a strategy that just changed my game kind of immediately, so. Anything else with this map before I close it?
No, I think that's mostly good. Just a couple of the rooms, so like there's, I think like 4 or 5 different things can spawn in each room, so like you could get either a room with like 3, I guess more than 4, so like you can get 6-ish either nodes or monsters to spawn in each room. And so some rooms you'll notice have like a pattern, like there's 3 like maybe mini monsters, like 3 rats, bats, or spiders, and then like one of them will have a weapon seed or a weapon frame in there. Then there's also on the, as you get closer to the demi boss, on the second ring out from the middle is the unicorns, scorpions, and wolves, and they drop like a lot more shards. They'll drop 60 to 100 sometimes shards, and they will pretty much always drop a weapon frame. They'll always drop a weapon frame for the first one that you kill of them. And so sometimes what I'll do is as I'm going out, I will forego some of the first rooms that have the 3 little monsters, and just so I can kill one of the kind of middle tier monsters. So I know that I'm guaranteed a weapon frame, and I'll probably get more crystal shards from them than I would from the 3 little guys. And if you have to make a choice, or if you can make a choice, you always want to kill Scorpion first, because it has the same drop rate of shards and weapon frame, but it has way more HP than the unicorn and the wolf, which are higher combat level and have more HP. So there's a little tip there, is always kill Scorpion first, and then the unicorn if there's no Scorpion, and then the wolf if that's your only option.
Yeah, actually I tagged all on the Scorpions just so I could see them.
Yeah, to make sure you start with that one is definitely helpful. So that's kind of, I guess, general overview for the map layout. I'm still not a huge fan of like how big the Gauntlet is. Like I feel like they could definitely like shrink it down, because there's like often like half the rooms that you don't even get to use because
3 sides could be enough.
Yeah, just shrink it down, make it a little bit smaller. But
it's like a noob trap. Like never go out there.
Yeah, exactly. You never go to the opposite side if you don't have to. But yeah, that's kind of the strategy for the route. Let's see. Hoyt, I want to get your opinion on which weapon is your favorite to use, because I have a very strong opinion on weapon tiers of like which one I think is my favorite, the least favorite.
It's melee. I love melee.
Really? Melee's a favorite, huh?
It's just so fun. The movement's so fun because it drags you in. And I love like you can even like, I don't know if I've done it successfully, but you can kind of Wooks walk tornadoes and stuff too. It feels like I'm gaming, and then the other two weapons are just straight up boring. But my favorite, if I could only pick one, it'd be Mage, of course, because it is like the strongest and safest. But melee is like, I feel like it's my scythe. I don't have a scythe, so that's my scythe. I love that thing.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's respectable. I feel like melee is like my middle of the two. Okay. Like, definitely Mage is my favorite. I feel like the staff, like, I'm only 90 magic on the group iron. I'm 96 range and 93 strength. So it's like my stats for the other styles are better. But Mage has a higher max hit, and I feel like it's way more accurate when I'm using it. Melee is my second. Like, if I have to, I try to avoid killing bears at all costs just because I want to do the 5-1 method, and I don't need to kill any of the bears for the spike.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But if I have to, I will. If there's two right next to each other, then it's hard to pass up just two perfected weapons, should probably just take them. But Mage is definitely one, and then it's like F tier in my mind is the bow. Yeah. Like, I hate that thing, dude. Like, I will go like 2 rotations, like 10 hits in a row and hit like 2 damage, and it is so frustrating that like I have a almost 99 range, the max hit is lower, and it just like sometimes it just never hits. I feel like the bow is just on my bad list right now.
If I get a bowstring, I know like I have to lock in because that run's gonna be hard. It's just a bummer.
Like, I'm gonna probably do an extra fishing spot just to get some more food. Yeah. Before I go into Hunllef for that one.
That reminds me, we talked about like in prep how many of each resource, and we didn't talk about food because it's like just in a different league. But I think the magic number I always had with tier 1, frankly, I'll skip that. I think with tier 2, I think it was like 12 fish was my sweet spot. I don't know. Okay. Maybe that's because you get 4. I think you get 4 per spot, right?
So you get spots. 4 per fishing node.
So usually it was like 12 to 16. So I was either 3 or 4 spots. Could you do it with 8? Of course. But I think that was my sweet spot. With tier 1, I was like learning. So frankly, if I had the time, I was filling that inventory up. What are your rule of thumbs as a gamer for food?
No, that's still what I do. Even if I'm doing the 5-1, then I'll still, like, unless it's a fast run and I'm like, ooh, this has like PB potential, I will usually just like grind out probably 20 fish. Just because sometimes if my weapon is the bow, then I will need 20 or 24 fish. So I'll spend the time looking for other fishing spots, and I might even make an extra teleport seed if I have to venture out far, because you can make them at the thing for 40 shards. And so I will even make an extra teleport seed if I have to. But I think 20, normally what I do is about 20 fish and 2 potions is normally what I'm rocking.
Yeah, always 2 potions.
Yeah, 2 potions. That's definitely the magic number. Okay, what else do we want to talk about for prep and getting ready for the fight, I guess?
Do you have before we do some tips and tricks on
Hunllef?
Well, I think plugins are a big thing. Do you want to do that in tips and tricks?
No, let's talk plugin.
Okay.
Yeah. Go for it.
There's one game changer, and it's called the Gauntlet, I believe.
The Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the Gauntlet, and you can set it to highlight resources on your minimap and on your screen, of course, that you need, and it will unhighlight them when you've gotten enough for whatever you put in. So if you're doing tier 1 prep, you can set it to highlight trees until I get 3 bark, and then don't highlight them. And this is just magic because, especially when you're learning to prep, it's quite overwhelming to keep track of things. And then the mini map, you can't really tell what's in there. So you have to like zoom out and like right click on things and try to remember. So definitely do the Gauntlet. Take a moment to configure it. I even configured it for leagues, even though I was only doing like 30 KC. I was like, I need this. It's so good.
Yeah, it's worth it. You can put your number of fish in there too.
Yeah, how many fish? Yep. Crystal shards. That was
Crystal shards.
very hard for me to track. So it'll have a little indicator for how many crystal shards you need, because doing the math on the fly when you are watching the clock tick down and then you realize you were off by 20 is awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely download the Gauntlet and then just take 15 minutes, set it up properly, use it. Configure it how you like. Everyone's a little different. Some people don't like everything highlighted, just the minimap, whatever you need. And then some people just want the info boxes, whatever. The second one is Hunllef Helper. Now, I don't know Poplo's opinion, but I know Heartless was the reason I use Hunllef Helper. At first, I was like against it. I'm a big like purist. I was like, I need to learn the right way. And I'll also add the caveat that Jagex has fixed this, so it's no longer necessary. They've added sound effects, so you know exactly when Hunllef is switching. So if you just learn what those sound effects are, you can swap. But Heartless has, I don't know, 700 or 800, 900 KC at Gauntlet, and he told me he has used Hunllef Helper for every single one. And I was like, wow, okay, well, if it's good enough for Heartless and he's still using it, it's not just a noob thing, like, sure. So I use Hunllef Helper.
What does it actually do?
Yeah, so as I click start here, it will, because Hunllef works on a predictable path, and we can hear it, 2, 1, mage, it tells me to switch from range to mage. And this is Perp. Is it Perp's voice?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And because Hunllef is a predictable fight that works on the same exact timings for switching, this is just an audio, an MP3 file basically, that will pause when you tell it to and start when you tell it to. Why it works for me is because it's one less thing to think about. I can then focus on my movement. I can focus on making sure I'm attacking with the right weapon. Maybe I'm counting to 5 or 6. And it just is one less thing to worry about. That's the only way I can put it. So even though I know I can learn the right way, whatever, and I had to for leagues because the helper didn't work on corrupted, it's just really nice to have less things. Now, there's one caveat, and when you get stomped by Hunllef by running under it incorrectly, you should never do that. Hunllef will stomp on you, and it pauses the cycle. You have to click on the helper to say, hey, I got stomped, so please adjust. And it'll adjust, but you have to learn how to fight Hunllef with the helper, which is weird, and it's just like kind of a learning curve to make sure you start the helper at the right moment, and then make sure you click it when you get stomped, because that is one less click you have in the fight. So it can like, it's a crutch for sure, but if you get comfortable with using it, it makes like, it made my KD just, improve. So
oh yeah,
that's my sales pitch. How do you feel about the helper?
I 100% agree, and I would say, dude, don't like sell it short. You're saying it's a crutch. Do you like just use that for all 900 KC like Heartless did?
It.
Okay. A fun fact: when Gauntlet came out, it still ran on the same cycle of range and mage switching. However, when you started the room, it could either start with range or mage. Now it only starts with range. Like they updated that, and obviously there wasn't like this plugin back then. And so when Gauntlet came out, someone made this third-party website, literally like you have to pull it up on your internet browser to do this. And then when you go in, you would tank the first hit from Hunllef, and then you would click start on like the internet browser thing of whether it was range or mage. and then it would do the countdown. It was the perp voice, and it would do the countdown. But it was like this it was this window that you had to open up like on like outside of the game and run it from. It runs the exact same way that the plugin does, but you'd have to run it from the internet. So like when I was like doing it on the laptop, I'd have to like open this whatever internet page and then like quickly click on it while I'm trying to do the Hunllef fight, and if I get stomped, you have to click on it and stuff like that. So it used to be like a third-party website that they turned into a plugin, which is amazing. So I use the OG version of that.
Yeah, it's not cheating. It's not like reading anything. It's literally just an MP3 file that you're telling to start or stop because it's predictable.
Yeah, totally.
So
and then Hunllef didn't used to do any animations or anything when it would switch attack styles. It would just switch, and like you just had to count or just like notice the projectile looked different as well. And so this was like the only way, other than literally counting the number of attacks, that you could keep track of which one it was on. Okay, was that last one range and now it's the magic one, or is this one mage? Like, this is the only way to keep track. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I've been using it since day one, since the internet browser days, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
And kudos to Jagex. They fixed it, and like you, just like demonic gorillas now make a sound effect or like put stuff above their head. If you aren't aware Hydra this exists, oh okay, yeah, it's like just
Hydra does a little thing too.
It's less awful. So
yeah, definitely. Way easier to keep track of. Yeah, that's very good, Hoyt. Those are awesome plugins. I love using both of those. And then I think you can also customize your MP3 file to whatever you want it to do, right? When it switches attacks, I think. Attack styles. Obviously, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I've never done that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, as well.
What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, I believe the Gauntlet is the plugin that marks the tornadoes true tile. Is that the right one? I believe.
Maybe. I don't have them. I can look it up. I don't have them tagged on mine.
Oh, you don't? Okay, Hunllef. I think I have outline tornado tile, true tile. Yeah.
Yes,
so
yeah.
The tornadoes on Hunllef do not, they have a true tile just like, our characters and all NPCs, and it's, 2 tiles ahead of where they visually look, or 1 tile. So
yep,
definitely recommend making sure that's enabled. Pick a color you like, and I really am just looking for the true tile indicator, not the visual. I kind of forget the visual even exists, so that'll help you. It's also a lot easier than you think to skip over the tornadoes. Maybe wouldn't recommend that to a beginner, but at some point you should be comfortable. Like you see them slowly coming towards you 1 tile at a time. You can just click at the right moment, and the grace period's pretty forgiving to be able to skip over them. So
yeah, or I go diagonal from them quite a bit too, if possible.
Yeah,
diagonal away from them. You kind of mentioned this, Hoyt, but yeah, you can kind of during the Hunllef fight, you can Wooks walk the tornadoes if you do it correctly. I don't know how to do this, but you have to do it with the halberd, and basically like the same kind of way that you Wooks walk Vorkath or something, where you're like running back and forth, attacking and running back. You can get the tornadoes kind of stuck between you, and you can run back and forth to kind of Wooks walk them to get them stuck, which I think is just kind of cool, kind of insane. Crazy man strat, because if you mess up, you're probably just 1 tick dead, but kind of
I've done it, strategy. But I think it was whenever I have no food and I'm probably going to die, it's fun because you're just like, well, screw it, why not try this crazy method? Like, don't have anything to lose. That's usually
it feels cool when you're doing it.
Start doing crazy shit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. I've got a couple other tips for Hunllef. Are there any other tips for like prep phase? Well, actually, maybe let's finish tips for prep phase, and then you want to talk kind of tips and tricks for both. prep tips and trips for prep and Hunllef fight?
Yeah. So
Cool.
you said tips and tricks for prep, or
yeah, let's talk tips and tricks for prep. Maybe some some things that I've noticed.
Yeah, you can do a lot of actions on the same tick, which is really fun. So whenever I'm fishing, I make my pots and I break down the crystals because you don't lose any ticks. So it's like 0 time. So you would, click on pestle and pestle and mortar, and then on
Yeah,
your crystal, and then on the fishing spot, and like the same tick, and you'll see a cool XP drop. And then I click on the herb and the water XP drop, or the vial water XP drop on the fishing spot. That works for every single node. I also I fight monsters while I woodcut. So I'll click on the tree, get an XP drop, click on the monster, click back. Finding times to do that makes the game more fun for me.
Yeah, and the way that saves you time is that the woodcutting action. So if you attack a monster, then the woodcutting action will happen when your weapon is off cooldown, technically. And so you have to wait like whatever your 5 ticks or your 4 ticks to chop the tree again or something. But then you can immediately attack after that. So it's like you're saving your attack is like 1 tick slower technically, but you're saving time because you're also getting a chop action in where that would be normally 3 ticks or something. So you're actually saving time because you're doing those 2, even though it's 1 tick wasted, you're doing those 2 together. And so it's actually saving time in the long run to fight things while you're harvesting resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, another kind of cool one that you can do. I don't do this on. I do this on the main whenever I'm doing Gauntlet. Is before you go into the Gauntlet, you can pray, or you can cast Vengeance on yourself, and so you can actually venge a monster in the Gauntlet because it'll keep your vengeance when you're in there. So you can. Often people use it on like the demi boss because that's kind of the first monster that hits you really hard. You don't really have like a great weapon when you're fighting demi bosses. You can do it on Hunllef too, but you can really get smacked for like a 50. Demi bosses tend to be a little bit more forgiving, and you can still hit a pretty big venge on them. So I would recommend if you're trying to do. I usually do that just for most of my runs, but if you're doing it for speed, especially, it can help you with some of that. And the prayer regeneration potion also works in Gauntlet if you drink it outside. I'm pretty sure. So you can drink a prayer regen potion before you before you go in, and you'll keep those effects as you're in the Gauntlet. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I figure they patched that.
I think it still works. I haven't tested it, but maybe I should do it for science and see if it still works.
Good deal.
The last thing I guess that I had for some tips in the Hunllef room is there are 8 tiles that you can mark that are kind of like, I call them like a home base or something during the like last 1/3 of the Hunllef fight. So when Hunllef drops below 333 HP, because it has 1,000 HP to start, then the floor, like I said, the floor pattern changes, and there are 8 tiles that you can stand on that the floor will never light up underneath you on those tiles. And so it's kind of nice because you can kind of just stand there and you can kind of chill. You don't have to worry about your movement. If there's no tornadoes out, you can just kind of stand on any of those 8 tiles, and you don't ever have to worry about something underneath you. You can focus on your prayers or eating or whatever you need to do just while you're on those tiles. It's just one less thing to keep track of when you're kind of in the later part of the fight too, and your brain needs a little break when there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, and those are 3 tiles from each door, right? Let's see if I can pull it up.
Yes.
Here they are. Okay, I found them. Yeah, so if the door, if you're looking at any of the doors, it's 1, 2, and the 3rd tile towards the center for both.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, everyone should have those marked, and you only need to move for the tornadoes, so very helpful. Entering Hunllef's fight is also like a skill. So
Explain. What do you mean?
Hunllef wanders around, and Hunllef is how many tiles? Maybe 4 wide? 4x4?
5x5, I think.
5x5?
I think he's a big boy.
Hunllef is
Yeah, he's 5x5.
5x5. Okay. So 5x5. And I'm showing on my screen, sorry, Poplo, but Hunllef will wander around, and what you want to do is you don't want Hunllef in the dead center generally, because that means you'd have to run through him at some point, perhaps. You also don't want him like touching a wall, because then you can't run behind him.
Right.
So a nice little helpful tip is usually you've got some time at the beginning before you quick start to wait for just the right moment. And I believe what I was taught and what helps me a lot is to get him, or her, is it him? Whatever, in one tile off the wall in the corner. Any corner, one tile off is generally the best, because if you're looking at my screen, it kind of opens up the most amount of safe tiles and running. So generally one tile off the wall, and then I'll run in and they'll stay there until I move it. There's also some crazy tech with moving Hunllef. So I don't know what direction it favors. So you have to do some other research unless Poplo knows. But if you
No, I don't know.
If you step under Hunllef, one tile, like right after an attack, so you know he can't melee yet, he's on cooldown basically, and hop back off, Hunllef will adjust because he wants to attack you. So Hunllef will move, one tile off.
Oh.
So I will force Hunllef by stepping one tile in and 2 tiles out. I know he won't step on me. It's still incredibly risky. Wouldn't recommend it unless you're really comfortable in there. But if Hunllef is in a very bad spot, maybe Hunllef is blocking 4 of my 8 safe tiles. I'll step under it, or maybe Hunllef's like right in the middle, and I can tell this is gonna be a hard fight. I'll spam stepping under him, and then he'll move back and try to attack me and keep moving. So that is some dark tech.
That's really cool.
Yeah, do that.
I didn't know that you could step under and move it.
Sometimes he'll move like right back, because it does follow like a northeast, southwest check. I don't know which order. So sometimes you can actually hurt yourself. It's like, oh, I didn't want you to move that way. Shit. And then lastly, another piece of advice I just remembered someone gave me on like day 1 was you want to find, when you're looking at what tile to stand on, try to obviously have an escape plan. When tornadoes spawn, where am I going to go? This is particularly in like the, second and third phase, but you want to find a tile with the longest amount of running distance that's safe. So I will stand on a safe tile knowing I can run 8 tiles straight ahead in one click and be safe. And as opposed to choosing a tile that basically, once I click to move, I have more time to change my prayer, eat, to change my weapon. That's 9 tiles of grace I have. And that's just really something you should play through in your head at all times. And it's kind of just a perspective thing that helped me a lot when I was learning.
Yeah, for sure. Like if Hunllef is like puppy guarding a corner, you probably don't want to like stand in that corner where Hunllef is and like get ready for tornadoes to spawn. Like you want to give yourself the most room, move to open spaces.
Yeah. And the most amount of tiles in one click is like what helped me have enough bandwidth to, breathe and eat and
yeah, for sure. I also used that same piece of advice for Fasani's Nightmare too, when it's doing like the hand attack. Then like, I mean, you kind of got to watch where you run, but if you're doing a lot of things when it's doing the floor hand attack, then I tend to just run towards where there's like open space more, because you can kind of get away from where the clusters of hands are. It kind of opens up. So and the other thing with the Hunllef too, if it's on a wall and it's like stuck on one of the walls, then you can run to the opposite corner and it'll actually drag it in one tile, because its attack range is one less than how big the room is. So you can drag it off the wall if you go to the opposite. Wall.
Yeah, keep that in mind if you were trying this strat. See, maybe one of the front corners you should pick. Otherwise, he'll just move right off it when you enter.
Yeah, definitely. I'll often move him just like right off the bat. If he's against the wall, just run to the opposite wall and just move him in by one, just right off the bat, before things get crazy and there's anything going on. So, yeah. All right, I do want to talk about combat achievements as well, real quick, before we get into like a little bit more of a I don't know, Gauntlet philosophy discussion, maybe. But is there anything else that we didn't cover, Hoyt, that you want to touch on real quick before we talk about CAs and maybe some tips to help finish off some of those combat achievements?
Yeah, not that I can think of. I think we've been pretty thorough.
Okay, yeah. I can't think of anything either. These are obviously these deep dives. They can get pretty in the weeds, but hopefully people learn a couple tips that are going to help them for their BOFA grind. Okay, so combat achievements. There's a couple ones. There's a lot of classic ones. There's KC achievement, so 50 KC. There's an achievement where you have to do Hunllef kill with perfected armor, so tier 3 armor, which is basically just run around and prep as fast as you can, find as many resources as you can, and I think you need 13 maybe resources of each to do perfected, and so it's like 30. Yeah, I think it's 13. You have to find 5 nodes of each resource to get perfected armor. And then there's one to do a Hunllef kill with no armor, which then you just want to stock up on food and definitely 2 at least perfected weapons. There's one to do no potions, where you need to prayer flick bug abuse some Hunllef. That one's tougher. I usually will just not pray offensive unless things are chill and you can flick on an offensive prayer. Sometimes just not like flicking or not praying overheads, like you can mess up and tank a lot of damage. But you can, when the tornadoes are out, you can definitely keep the overheads on the whole time, and you'll just be fine even if you're not praying offensive, or if you're just flicking offensive on every once in a while. There's a combat achievement to not have more than one attuned weapon. And so that's having either one perfected and one basic weapon is the way to do it. And you can do the 5-1 method that we talked about earlier with that, or you could probably just brute force it with one of each. A perfect and a basic with high level either tier 2 armor and a bunch of food or something like that. You could brute force that one too. And then definitely the hardest one is the speedrunner task. And for Corrupted Gauntlet, you have to finish in under 6.5 minutes, which can get pretty fast. That's prep and boss. Both done. Wait, have you done the speedrunner task?
No, I think I've tried. I haven't really been on my CA grind, and I have like elites, but CG's one of the last places you go to get tasks done, because some of them are just pretty hard, but there's some easy ones. But I don't know which.
This is probably one of the hardest speed ones.
Yeah, I definitely don't have that then. No.
Well, I mean, you're good enough. You could do it. It's like equal parts RNG as it is to skill. It feels like 50-50 because if you get a bad spawn, like if you get a bad prep, like room spawn, then like you're just screwed right off the bat. There's no way that you could do it. But the way that you probably want to tackle this is the way that I did it was you just need good RNG for hits mostly at Hunllef. You need to think of it as like I'm going into this fight and either I'm gonna kill him fast or I'm probably gonna die. Like there's no alternative. This is not like doing this combat achievement. You're probably not getting KCs otherwise. Like you're probably either going in and getting a good time or you're dying, which I think is what makes this one so hard, is that it's not like, because that's just the way that you have to set it up with your prep and with the actual kill, is that there's no contingency plan. You just have to have good RNG, you have to have good hits in order to get the time. And so the way that I was able to do it on my group iron, even without max combats and stuff like that, my PB is a 615 right now, so I'm pretty proud of that one. But you basically, if you get good spawns, you can do a tier 1 armor prep, but otherwise you might just have to pray for a lot of fishing spots and go with no armor even, because that saves you a lot of time not having to harvest things from the nodes. You don't need as many crystal shards, and so actually not prepping armor can save you a lot of time. Also, you might want to get 3 or 4 maybe potions, because you're probably going to be trying to flick redemption on. And so like I said, if you don't have armor, the Hunllef's max hit on prayer is a 15 with chip damage. And so you're going to want to be praying the correct thing and then flicking on redemption right as his projectile hits you to try to proc redemption so that you don't need as much healing. However, he can still, like if you have 15 HP, he can still kill you in one hit. So there's just nothing you can do. You just have to eat a piece of food or something, but you're trying not to prep as much food. So it's just, like I said, there's a lot of RNG. There's a lot of skill expression to that one as well. You probably also want to do the 5-1 method for that, because just finding one demi boss is going to save you a lot of time versus having to run around and find multiple. So you kind of have to get everything lined up in the perfect storm for this one CA, which makes it really tough, and you're wiping every run that you don't get it. So that's kind of why that one is the most difficult. I don't know if you looked at the sheet, Hoyt, but do you know what the current corrupted gauntlet world record time is?
Ooh, I don't.
It's mind-blowing. It's stupid
what's
fast.
What's the hardest time for the CA?
For corrupted, the hardest time is 6.5 minutes. 6:30.
6.5. And is this record we're talking about for corrupted?
I've got both on here. You can guess both. Okay, so the hardest one for here, wait, let me look up the CA for normal gauntlet. I think the normal gauntlet is 4 minutes. Okay. So yeah, normal gauntlet, the hardest CA time is 4 minutes, and corrupted is 6.5.
Okay. Normal gauntlet, I'll say 2:48. And then I'll say corrupted is 4:56.
Oh, you're close on the normal one. So normal world record is 2:39 for regular gauntlet. That's prep and everything. The corrupted one absolutely blows my mind. You said 4:50,
something like that, yeah.
Something like that. The world record for corrupted gauntlet is 4:03.6.
Damn.
4 minutes and 3 seconds.
That's
for the
ridiculous.
whole entire. Dude, I mean, like most people have prep or Hunllef fights that are just longer than that. Like every run, like it is insane. There's a YouTube video out there to watch.
That's wild.
Yeah, kind of wild. Okay. I think that mostly wraps it up for kind of what I wanted to talk about for combat achievements, tips, tricks, stuff like that. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Hoyt, before we jump into kind of the hot topic that's been around Corrupted Gauntlet recently?
No, I think I'm ready.
Okay. So this is the last little part that kind of tie the bow on everything. First off, the kind of like what we mentioned before, the Gauntlet kind of feels like a big hurdle in a lot of account progression, because like the BOFA kind of unlocks most of the game for you. Like when you get it, like just the amount of power you have from a BOFA with a lot of the bosses, like mid and end game bosses, just like absolutely skyrockets when you have a BOFA. It's so good at raids. It's just so good before the mega rares, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah. So basically, people have been kind of giving Gauntlet a little bit more of a scrupulous look here, because the drop rate of the BOFA is 1 in 400, which can take easily like a couple hundred hours if you go on rate, or more if you don't get lucky. When the Gauntlet first came out, there was no BOFA, there was only the Blade of Saeldor, and this just dropped straight up like the Blade of Saeldor, like you just got the weapon. But eventually, when they released the BOFA, and the drop rate for the Blade of Saeldor was a 1 in 200, but when they released the BOFA, they added the Enhanced Crystal Weapon Seed, which can be made into either of them, so you can either make the BOFA or the Blade, and they changed the drop rate of the Enhanced from 1 in 200 to 1 in 400. So they basically doubled the rarity of it. And now people are kind of like realizing like, hey, we don't really have like the time in our lives, or like it's not fun to have things doubled and like have to spend like months of our lives at a grind here just to like unlock the rest of the game, basically.
Wait, the Saeldor was 1 in 200?
Yeah, when it first came out, Saeldor was 1 in 200.
Hell? Dude, I never knew that, and I want one so bad, but I can't justify 1 in 400. 1 in 200 would be perfect. Also, I just got a Gout tuber like on like within 1 minute, so this is goated.
Oh, nice. Let's go. You'll love to see it. So yeah, they basically just doubled it, and now the only people that have blades are like the people who got the Ironmen who got a second enhanced, like on their like way to getting all 6 armor seeds, basically. Yep. So, kind of what are your thoughts, Hoyt? There's been like a couple ideas of like how to fix the Gauntlet, I guess, quote unquote, fix it, of either making like the fight feel better or faster to kind of speed up the kills, or adjusting the drop rate of the Enhanced Crystal Weapon Seed so that like having both of them is plausible, because going 800 kills at the Gauntlet to try to get to like get both Blade and BOFA is just like, it just takes so much time that people just won't do it, because there's just so much other things that you could do other than that. So kind of what are your thoughts about it, like where things stand right now, the current state of the Gauntlet, and if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to see changed, or how they can kind of address this without just, I would say address it without just totally like cutting the drop rate in half, but maybe making it feel a little bit better.
Lazy answer, but I do think the drop rate should just be 1 in 300 to match the armor. And upon hearing this news, I would like the Blade of Saeldor to be 1 in 200. I can't believe that they doubled it at some point. That's criminal, because it's not that good at all. So
no, I mean, and it used to be like amazing.
Yeah,
like that was back in 2020.
It is really good. It's just not good considering how hard it is to get. So
yeah,
I would really like one, because I would use it for, just AFK melee slayer. Anywhere you'd use a whip, you use the blade. It's just better.
Yeah, it's just straight up better.
And it's not a tent whip, so you're not losing charges. And so that's my quick and easy answer, is I think making it 1 in 300 for enhanced, and then they should have a Bofa seed and a Saildor seed. Yeah. And then later I want to talk about they should probably, what if they added a magic thing to complete the trifecta?
Ooh.
Because it's kind of weird. They just have melee and range covered.
Okay.
But yeah, 1 in 300, I think I have friends, we all know them, who have gone 12, 14, 1600 dry. Even double that's possible.
Yeah.
And it's legitimately a year of their life and down the drain if they don't take breaks.
What do we say, like 6 KC an hour? Like about if you're like
6 KC an hour if you're really efficient. No breaks. So yeah,
that's like, that's just 100 plus hours, 150 hours to go for both.
Yeah, so if you went 3 times rate, which isn't that hard to do, guys. I think like 15% of people get 3 times rate, or 10%. Then you would be looking at 200-hour grind. And if you play, 10 hours a week doing CG, that's half a year, a little less than half a year. And that's 10 hours of CG a week. You might only have a stomach for 6 hours of that. So if you only did 6 hours a week of CG, you're looking at 33 weeks. That's more than 6 months. That's 8 months. So,
jeez.
Nonetheless,
for something that seems to be so like necessary for an account, right?
Yeah, you can't, like, you could, if you're really anti-CG, I know the old meta, I think that's still the same. You could go get an Armadillo crossbow, which is also a brutal grind. And then you could like do chambers, for an ACB or with an ACB, and do bandas with an ACB. I don't know, but you're gonna feel bad doing any content without a Bofa, and I think it's I know for a fact it's a huge quit moment for all Iron Men, where if they get too unlucky, they'll just play another game. Like, they're an adult. They don't need to do this. They might come back in a few years, but Jagex, you just lost them for a few years of membership, So,
yeah.
That's my take. What about you?
No, I agree with you. I just, sometimes I feel like just changing the drop rate, it feels like just a Band-Aid fix. Like, there shouldn't just be...
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, it didn't used to be that, so I don't really know how I feel about this. Like, they've done it before, just change the drop rate. They did that with Nex when things came out. They're like, oh, things were coming into the game way faster, so we're just gonna nerf the drop rates. Like, I don't know why they decided to just double the drop rate when the Bofa came out, except that everyone was like, oh my god, this is what I need. Like, every account is gonna go here and is gonna get one. And so I don't know if they were just like, yeah, so let's just make them stick around longer to get these. Or if they were just like, oh yeah, everyone is still going to want one of each, which now nobody wants one of each. Everyone just wants literally just one. And so I don't know what their philosophy was when they released this, but I do feel like I would be okay with the 1 in 300 just to match the armor seed drop rate, like rough estimate completion. And then it's like, it definitely feels better of like, if you do go dry, then you're not going as dry, obviously. But I also think that there are ways to maybe make CG like just a little bit more fun and like a little bit better along the way. I saw this this pitch that wasn't, it was kind of like a roguelike where you could unlock like perks within CG. It costed crystal shards, which I didn't love, but maybe like when you hit KC thresholds or like, I don't know, time thresholds or something, maybe you get it unlocked, kind of like you unlock things in the Colosseum with glory. Like maybe once you hit a certain type of glory system or something in CG, then you could unlock something like I think one of the ideas was like the demi bosses will always spawn where they're supposed to spawn. Like you'll get at least 2 demi bosses to spawn, like when they're supposed to be there. So it's not just like it's not like making things way faster or better, like, or just not just nerfing drop rates, but it is just making things faster and better because your quality of life while you're in there is better. or like fishing nodes will now give 6 or 8 fish or something as opposed to 4. And so it's not like, it's just making your experience in there better the longer that you're there. And I think that could be a way to do it as well. But maybe they just do both because people like to play the game. And so, like, make the content better and reduce the drop rate. Maybe both.
I think a lot of people, they look at the Echo Boss, and those who don't know, the Echo Boss skips the prep phase entirely.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we need that. I like the fight, don't like the prep. While I agree, I like the fight, don't like the prep, I think the prep is a very important part in the skill check and decision making. And there's a lot of skill expression and your routing and efficiencies. And also there's, I think the luck keeps it fresh. It makes it frustrating when you can't find that fishing spot you need. But
yeah,
it also, I can't imagine a world where it's all fixed and like you could literally like tile highlight each tile you need to click on for the shortest route. That would suck. So
that is true. Yeah.
I like your idea because it's a compromise of let's make this less awful without changing what makes CG core, because I was one of the players who learned, I mean, people who knew me before CG and after could just see in real time my improvements I made as a player. And not all that was just the boss. A lot of it was like, oddly enough, was like just prep kind of, and like decision making.
Yeah, there's an art and a skill to prep as well too.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not just like, it's not like Duke prep where you just have to do it for these things to start the boss. It's like, again, you're on a timer and there's skill in it, and inventory management if you're tier 2 prepping, like how you drop things and pick them up and when and where. And yeah, so I want to keep some of that, but I do want to make it less awful because, dude, when you're on your 600 KC trying to get your Blade of Saildor, or your dry for your first enhance for your Bofa, like, we don't need to make you do this shit. Like, it's just mean. It's just cruel.
And like, people are just gonna have a much better time after they get the Bofa and can actually go like do content and like feel good about it. Like, there's already enough stuff to do in the game that I don't think this should be like the gate kept time sink just to like unlock the mid game or some of the end game. Basically,
frankly, like, once you do 150 kills, like, I think you've squeezed 90% of the learnings from that content. Like, that's about the point where I think, like, yeah, you've gotten like everything you kind of need from CG. Perhaps. Now, I left 10% out there because I think you still continue to learn and get better, but I'm saying, like, the utility of becoming a better player is usually about exhausted around 150 KC if I had to pick. So okay, like, just let people have fun after that. I don't know.
Yeah, and like, obviously still like understanding that it is like a very powerful weapon and it does have like a very high place in like the gear progression state of RuneScape, right? Is that it does need to still be a time sink, but I mean, just like, I think it's a little bit egregious right now, and so maybe
don't be mean about it.
Yeah,
they'll invest the time, but don't make it feel bad while they're doing it too.
100%. Yeah, and it's like, I've been really enjoying doing this like grind on the iron, and I would not, like, I'm not up for sticking around for like more than 200 plus KC more, like, that just sounds terrible to me to think that like, oh, I'm like halfway through this. That sounds so demoralizing to like even just go on rate. And I was planning to be that guy that did the whole CG skip. Like, I was just like, I'm not going there. Like, I got super lucky, and so like I did end up doing it, but it's so bad that I'm like, dude, I'm just not gonna spend the time there because it's so bad that I don't want to do it. So anyways, I think there's a couple options that they'll do, and maybe they'll look at it during the summer sweep up or something. I think there's some pretty cool kind of pitches that have been put out there. But that's kind of the state of the CG, and maybe some things that can work in tandem to kind of help it feel better and sit a little bit better with players right now.
Yeah.
So
I think we
cool.
We did a good job.
Awesome. All right, that's the deep dive on CG. I think maybe let's throw it to an ad break, and we'll come back with clan achievements and finish up the episode.
All right.
Okay, we're going to end this episode with some clan achievements. So kind of like what we mentioned at the start of our podcast, you can join our clan. You can join our Discord, RaidzBank. Link will be linked in the description. You can also join our in-game clan, RaidzBank, RaidzBank, one word in-game. Come hang out if you're 1800 total level or more. Post your drops and achievements in the Discord, and you might get a shout out like some of these lucky folks. So, first one, I mean, wait, this dude has been on an absolute tear. Getting 3 shout outs today. Mr. Ryuka-san.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this guy has just been loading up the drops channel.
Every episode, not to mention this streak.
That is true. He's got the streak going. Okay, so in the last, I don't know, since we recorded our last one, Mr. Ryuka-san has pulled a scythe, has got a Dragonstone full helm collection log, which is super cool, super rare, and he is our honorable third age receiver for this week, with a third age range coif.
Oh my god, insane!
Yeah, insane. GZ to you. We'll do a mini shout out to Ryan, who got pulled third age on leagues. Got a third age rope on him, I think.
Druidic cloak, I think.
Oh, Druidic cloak, maybe.
Which the Druidic's even harder. Is that him or someone else? Yeah, I think it's him.
I'm pretty sure.
Because my jaw dropped, and then he said, "Yeah, third age cloak."
Third age cloak, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so not Druidic cloak, just cloak.
Third age cloak, 900 milli on the leagues. Yeah. So, too bad. Too bad it's on the leagues, but GZ to you as well. Next up, we got C Minor, who is our resident mobile gamer, absolute scaper. Pulled the scythe with the boys as well.
Well deserved.
So, yes, mobile purples. Probably they got to hit different. I don't know, man. Never done a raid on mobile. Yeah. Egg Iron pulled Ancestral Row Bottoms on the Iron. You'll love to see the Iron get a piece of Ancestral. So that's sick. Dime Stacks pulled an Arcane back-to-back into Claws also on the Iron. And I think those were maybe his first purples, he said. So that's some good ones to get right out of the way. Mr. D-Claude finished his quiver this week, so GZ to you, that's a big achievement to have that one out of the way. Coliseum's just such a fun grind, really good content to learn. I will be joining you there soon on the group Iron once I finish off my Bofa at full crystal. And then finally we got Morty Jr., who finished Blorva on his
Let's
account.
Go.
Yeah.
Big GZ.
Big GZ, coolest looking armor set in the game, unlocked, in my opinion. I don't know. Wait, what is your coolest looking armor set, if you had to pick one?
Yeah, it's Blorva.
Blorva?
I mean, I like Radiant, but I've always liked the edgy, black and red aesthetic, so.
Yeah. I think the helm does it for me. I like the Blorva helm way more than the Radiant helm.
Yeah.
Like, I think the rest of the armor looks cool, but yeah, Blorva's still my goat. That's all we have for clan shoutouts this week. Finally, don't forget that we have a Patreon where you can support us for as little as $3 a month. We don't have any Patreon questions this week, so feel free to get those questions in, and we can do them on the next episode or whatever, whenever we get around to it. But I just want to shout out our endgame tier supporters: Forget It, Mikey, Trolley D, Bucha, Afru Brews, and Rune Riot. Thank you guys so much for your support. That's all we have. We have to take off for the afternoon, but so we're gonna skip chest room and we're gonna do it next week, hopefully when Heartless is back from his bender. Yeah. Hoyt, anything else you got for us this week?
Yeah, sorry, no chest room. This was a long one, and I have a assignment due in like 40 minutes, so we'll blame Hoyt for this one. But
Hoyt's being a good student.
Poplo was ready with
letting
one.
AI write his papers. So.
Hey, no one said that.
As far as we know.
I do think being in school during AI has to be similar to being in school when Google came out. Like teachers, where all their curriculum was still based around like going to the library, and now you just could Google it. AI is like, I feel for him. I'm really grateful. Like I'm in it, but I do have to watch myself because, like, we all know the cheaters in high school ended up not in like getting too far in life because
Tanner from high school.
Like you have to learn things, for work. You can't cheat at work too, like, and everything. People will figure it out. So, I'm making sure I learn and obviously never be blatant about AI, but you should use AI to learn because it can just save you like time and it's a controversial thing, but if you use it in the right way, it's very helpful.
It is a tool.
Yeah, don't write a freaking paper about it. Everyone can tell. Like,
everyone
those
knows.
M dashes are a giveaway. The double dash thing. You're absolutely right, and
yeah, and it just tells you what you want to hear these days, man. It'll tell you whatever you tell it to tell you. That's what it'll do.
Yes, absolutely. So, I've
double check if you're using it.
I use it for food recipes like a lot, and
totally.
It just recently, last few weeks, I'll say like, show me a pasta recipe with sausage and spinach, and it will generate 9 photos immediately. I'm like, stop! Don't ever do that again. I don't need 9. Like, just give me bullet point ingredients because it's like
it's
trying
just
to be
up
like
pictures of sausage on your phone, like
yeah. Pause. But yeah, no,
can't be doing that on the work internet.
I'm just like, you don't need to send me AI slop images of pasta. Like, I just give me a recipe and like text only, and it keeps forgetting. Every new prompt is like, here's 12 images of sandwiches. I'm like, I don't want these. Stop. But,
yeah,
that was a fun tangent. But yeah, thanks for writing this up, and thank you everyone for listening. It was fun.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.